Not sure why. I did it last night as well. But yes, hopefully I haven't missed too much. Although the live, the counter's restarted, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on the actual physical time. But hopefully it won't drop again. But yeah, I did that last night, and I'm not sure why. I might have to contact internet people. But yes, okay, yeah, we have 12 seconds to go before the burn. I'll do. Right, let's have a look. See what happens. See how close we get to the Kerbal space. I mean, there's a lot of ocean here, so we should be fine. But yes, let's point ourselves normal, and then yeah, hopefully the internet will not disconnect again. Let's time warp down till we are entering the atmosphere. Okay, we switch to physical time warp. And let's get on a bit low. Don't want to get too. Let's stage now. So stage and point retro, and then let's just hope that they should survive. I feel like they'll survive. Camera. Turn on landing. See what happens with our landing thing. Yeah, as we get down here, you see we get the starting to get heating here. I'll be quite miffed if these things get destroyed, but it's the risk you take when you're going home. Like again, I'm assuming here the re-entry heating is the same as when I'm playing on normal mode on my career save, in which these things could survive just being on the outside of the capsule on re-entry. But again, there's nothing really we can do about it if they do get destroyed. It'll just mean that we have to go back to Minmus and do all that again. Yeah, the sun's coming up. We have an impact. We do have landing now. Yeah, I don't think this. Yeah, this doesn't. This accounts for rotation, but it doesn't account for aerodynamic drag, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, we're probably going to be undershooting the Kerbal Space Center by a bit. And again, we zoom all the way out. Okay, let's keep an eye out for these things, temperature gauges. going through the maximum heating at the moment, so looking okay so far. Fingers crossed, you know. Once we get down below 1,000 meters per second, we'll be, we'll drop below hypersonic, and then heating won't be a problem. There you go. They seem to survive the heating, which is what I expected, kind of, based on my experience. We decide whether we're jettisoning the heat shield or not, depending on what our... we don't need to jettison the heat shield if we're not travelling too slowly. Or if we're travelling too quickly. We can stage those. Stage those, and then we won't see if we need to stage this, because again, I mean, I think this has got pretty decent impact tolerance. So if we get below 9 meters per second, then I think impact tolerance isn't so bad when you're landing in water as well. Down to our oh, look, there is the moon all the way up there. Three, two, one, and then 1,000 meters above. We should hopefully get our there you are, 6.3. That's fine. I think we should be fine with that. Let's hasten our descent with some physics time warp, and then hopefully we can turn off landing and maneuver. We don't need those at the moment. Go down to the final 100 meters and then do that on just normal speed, because why not? There you go. Can't see our shadow. There it is. We have survived. See what we get. $2,000 science. That's what I like to see. 2,100 science just for all of this. I think that's a successful trip to Minmus, guys. So let's go and unlock a whole load of stuff. Okay, so we've got 2,000, with which you can operate a lot of, do a lot of things. Let's have a look. So these, like this thing costs 90. These cost 160, and we get up to these ones as well. Again, nuclear propulsion is definitely something we want to consider, because that's interplanetary. So yeah, there's we've got 2,000. There's 160 for each of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you get like 1,600. So you can spend like 1,600 unlocking a load of these Again, I'm not that bothered about aerodynamics. I'm willing to leave it unless it's something we need to unlock later on. Because again, like I haven't really done a lot of space planes, so maybe we can do that later. But at the moment, I'm more interested in say heavy rocketry. Very heavy rocketry is even more expensive. So propulsion systems are useful. We get some more. Again, only 90, so we can research that. Which gives us advanced fuel systems, which gives us more things. Then heavy rocketry gives us, yeah, some good options there. Actuators gives us a load of robotics parts, which might be useful. Let's just go through each of these. So we have enough to buy, like, yeah, I'd like to get that if I can. But we can also unlock advanced exploration, which gives us a science lab, which will give us access to a lot more science once we start using it. So let's go through these. So like heavy rocketry gives us a bunch of larger rocket engines, which we can use to get larger payloads into orbit, which is useful. Precision propulsion gives us a bunch more like smaller rocket engines, and some more tanks, which are good for like landers and stuff. And we also get separatrons as well, which are useful for separating larger. Once you get like big rockets and you want to make sure they don't like explode when they separate, these things are really useful. Advanced fuel systems gives us more fuel tank options, including monoprop tanks. The bigger, the Jumbo 64 fuel tank. Specialized construction gives us a bunch of parts. So we get a bunch of construction parts. We get a nose cone, which is like a slanted version. The 2.5 meter protective shell. Stack separator, girder thing, cloud pusher and docking port. That's the bigger version of the Junior, which is like easier to work with. It's a flag unit. That's a radial adapter. Yep. Yes, lots of structural things. Actuators gives us the grabbing unit, and which will like allow us to go and get go and deorbit things manually rather than having to use the tracking station to blow them up. And a bunch of robotics parts. Advanced landing gives us access to the better landing strut, bigger parachute, and rotors as well for some reason. Specialized control gives us that's for aerodynamic. That's for like planes and stuff. We get some engines and like a bigger monoprop tank, and the advanced reaction wheel, which is the more powerful reaction wheel. Command modules is useful because we get a whole bunch of stuff. We get the Cupola module for space stations and stuff. The Apollo Star command pod, the Mark II land can, bigger service bay, and then this is from the lunar excursion. This is the Apollo lunar excursion module part from Making History, I believe. Advanced exploration gives us the mobile processing lab, which we definitely want. Something better ladders. Precision engineering gives us a slightly better probe core. A small decoupler, which again useful. Some better communitrons, and then we get some more deployable experiments. Advanced electrics gives us a bunch of better deployable solar panels, which generate a bit more power, bigger battery, etc. I reckon we want to be able to get bigger things into orbit, so we definitely want this. And we get down to 300. This requires both of those. Okay, that's fine. Precision propulsion, again, rocket engines are useful. Advanced fuel systems, which should hopefully give us access to. Oh, nice! We also get the option of large volume containment as well, which gives us some bigger tanks, which can be useful. nuclear propulsion only gives us one part, but this is the nuclear engine, which is a lot more fuel efficient. It's got really bad thrust to weight ratio, but it's a lot more fuel efficient, and like you could start doing interplanetary stuff with that. So this costs 300 to research. Large volume containment doesn't give us. It just gives us the 37 rated parts, doesn't it? But we don't get the big. We don't get the big. What should we call it? The big fairing, payload fairing. Specialized construction gives us that'll be useful. The big protective shell, a bunch of yeah, we want the docking port as well. So we'll research this, which gives us options of what composites give us. That gives us bigger things. More entrant plates, etc. Inline clampatron. Advanced metalworks gives us girders, the shielded docking port, and the inflatable airlock, which again is a thing, which again is a making history part, I believe. Actuators could be useful. I think build like the option of having robotics, like the first set of robotic parts would be useful. And I believe we'll probably get we'll be getting the CAL controller in with this stuff. So I think we definitely want command modules and advanced exploration. Down to 1100 science. Precision engineering gives us the chance to start looking at what does field science give us? Gives us some wheels, etc. But we don't need that yet, because again, all these cost 300 apiece. So yeah, we'll want to worry about that later. But yeah, this gives us some options. We definitely want advanced electrics, because if we're going to go into planetary, we want we definitely want to be able to generate more power. We've got 900, so we could get 3 of these. Like high power electrics gives us a much bigger solar array. Electronics gives us some more. Oh, nicer communitron. Seismometer as well. But again, the question is, do we want to? I'd say we want to unlock a couple of these. I think. The question is which ones, because we definitely need to get enough stuff so that we can do more science. Specialized control would be useful for for larger ships. These advanced reaction wheel modules are useful. Advanced landing will let us get that landing leg. And then heavy landing doesn't give us landing legs, it just gives us the 10 meter heat shield is fun. But again, that's like even more expensive. That's like again 300. But again, like I mean, the plan will be now to start launching science labs and having them filling them with scientific data and using them to unlock more things. Which we now have a science lab, which is useful. Let's think. Advanced landing. If I want to start building like bases, I think we'll want that for bases. Specialized control. I went into 806. Let's grab nuclear propulsion. Got 500 left, which is enough for one of these and one of these, I think. So large volume containment gives us some bigger rocket things, not necessarily useful. Gives us a different version of the thing we already have. Composites gives us a lot of potentially a lot of things, but again, that's like a protective, an aerospace protective, a payload variant that's bigger than what we can currently use. Field science again doesn't give us the ability to start building rovers, which again will be fun, but not necessarily what we need to do right now. Scanning tech gives us again that won't necessarily be useful until we start going into planetary. Precision engineering gives us some better communications stuff, which will be useful, and we can start building a comnet network around Kerbin and the moon of Minmus at that point. So I'm thinking high power electrics for the big solar array, and yeah. I feel like precision engineering for the better communication stuff. Which again will be useful. Okay, this will give us like just good coverage around home. So yeah, I think high power electrics. We don't have more electronics yet, do we? We can unlock these before we unlock. No, we have high power electrics, and then we've got enough for one of these. Again, it's question of precision engineering or specialized control, or again actuators, potentially fun. But I think we can start playing around with robotics. Do we have any existing robotic parts? I don't think we do we? I think we'll get the most out of precision engineering, I think. So I think we'll go for that. And we've just enough science left over. We could grab aviation whilst we're here, which gives us navigation lights, some wheels, and some really basic aviation parts. But I mean, we could start. Okay, we got 46.3. It costs 45. We might as well buy it. Yeah, we'll probably start looking at planes at some point. But now I'll do. So we're currently at 5:07, which means we've got about 55 minutes. So based on this, let's go and see what potential we have for going on. Let's add a new alarm for a transfer window from Kerbin. Let's see what Eve is a year away. Duna is 161 days. And I reckon we could research enough stuff to get the parts we need for our first trip to Juna and that. So I think we can definitely aim for a trip to Juna. I think that's a good idea. So we'll add that. Kerbin, see Moho, 75 days. That's Moho's. I've not done it, but from what I understand, it's a bit more difficult because you have to go. It takes a lot more Delta V. Eve's supposed to be relatively straightforward to get to, but again, it's quite far away. What's Dres? Quite far away. 122 days for Jewel. Again, Jewel's a bit far away. We probably want some better comnet before we do that. And then Elu is, yeah, I think, yeah, June is probably our thing to aim for. And in order to get there, we're going to need to do some bit more science around local things. So I see that we have two main objectives at this point. Putting a basic comnet around Kerbin, the M.O.E.S, and Minmus, so that we are always in communication range. And essentially, like, I'm thinking we start building some infrastructure, and I'm thinking we do like we like a little like landed landed base on Minmus with one of those with a science lab to essentially like start processing science. I'm thinking of like sending like one science lab to each like body as like a permanent sort of base to do scientific research. So obviously we've just been to Minmus. My plan was like to do an orbiter with lander with like an orbiting station around the Mun. And I guess since we went to Minmus last time, so I'm thinking maybe we build an orbital station and try and get it to the moon, to the Mun. Always mispronounce it. Then build a reusable lander that will have the job of landing on, getting science, and then just like collecting science in this orbital station that eventually we go and pick it up and get it back. So I think again we've just been to this, so I feel like I'll try and do the Mun plan first. So we want to build a space station, and we'll go around the moon. We'll get a cupola module because it's a good module for a moon station, for a space station. Utility, we want a hitchhiker storage because we need some place for the little Kerbals to live, and then we want a big old science lab. And this thing is this is the bee's knees when it comes to getting science. Yeah, you fill it with like, this basically gives you an extra thing to do with scientific experiments that you do on EVA, etc. You essentially you can pipe them into this thing, and then this will turn it into a lot more science over a longer period of time. So basically these things start generating science as long as you have Kerbals within them. They require 5 power, I believe, when they're yeah, I think they require 5 power when they're processing science. So we need to be able to like generate enough. Yeah, so what we will do is we grab a structural tube, which we should now have the 2.5 meter structural tube, and basically we're going to stick a bunch of batteries in here. This is the plan. What batteries do we have currently? We don't have the oh, we have the Z1K. That's useful. So we can stack a bunch of those in here. I think that's what 3,000. Six of those. Let's make this medium length. Basically, stick a whole load of power in here. Okay, not quite that much power. So we've got 7,600 electric charge, which, you know, hopefully should be well enough to Now, do I think we stick a little fuel tank on here, with a view that the idea being that we can send basically like a massive fuel thing to refuel it, because we want to be able to refuel our landers. We also want to add some potential for expansion as well, but let's grab one of these, make it orange. Ooh, ESA color scheme. We do have this one. Stick that on there. That's the junior. Do you want the regular docking port? Basically, that's how we'll refuel things. When we stick our power generation on here, we don't want 6 of them though. Let's just have 4. Again, these things produce quite a lot of power, so we just stick them down here. This is basically like our power and fuel section. This is our research lab, onto which we will stick. Actually, we'll pop our communication dish. We'll get the communitron. We don't want 4 of them. We only want the one. We'll pop this on here. Extend that like that. And then in theory, we want to have some room for expansion. We also want to be able to dock things to it. So we need to be able to dock landers. We also want to dock ships. So what I've done like in the past is you get one of the, where is it, structural. Oh, we do have some robotics parts. That's useful. Means we can start building like robotic things, which would be fun. We want the radial attachment point. What we're going to do is going to stick. I usually like to have the docking ports for the landers in here. So the idea is that the landers will just dock straight in, and then you just they transfer their science straight into here. This way, I think, like that. We'll want a small docking port junior, because again we already have that lander in orbit around. No, we've got that lander. That's in orbit around Minmus, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But we're not putting a lab in. The plan isn't to put a lab in orbit around Minmus. It's to let's have that a bit more flush to the. There we go. What do we have in terms of lighting? Utility. We do have some lights. That's useful. Have a bit of lighting on docking ports, which is useful for that'll do. A little bit of illumination for the docking ports, and we'll stick a couple of a docking port on here, I think, so that we have somewhere to dock a visiting ship to. Yes, before I forget, there's also one other thing I want to do, which probably easier is that there for now. We want a 2x5 service bay, which will have a couple of the experiment storage units in, so that we can store experiments. There we go. So it just means that we'll be able to basically store a bunch of scientific experiments to bring back to Kerbin when we whenever we want to, essentially. We also could do with a probe core as well. Right, the Octo, is it the, I think it's Octo or is it Hex? It's the one that's got the better, yeah, this is a slightly better version. Stick that there. And while we're at it, actually, let's add a, basically everything really, really big and then make it impossible to get it to the moon. It's basically the plan. Short structural tube. I don't think there's a way of changing the colour of this, I don't think. And we will add in a, what are these? And then how we've RCS fuel tanks. Good, everyone's supposed to access these from the outside, so I think this is the slightly smaller version. No, that's still. Is this the big one? Yeah, this is the big one. Let's pop this on the bottom here so we have all our fuel in one place. Silver, right? There we go. Yeah, as much as I don't want to have I don't want to obscure these windows, but I don't want to obscure this hatch either. So I'm thinking if we stick some more radial attachment points on here. So like this. And then we stick, having said that, I can rotate this 90 degrees. Actually, no, we don't want to rotate it 90 degrees because we want the ladders to line up. At the moment, I'm thinking if we get rid of the we just want to have them like angled slightly differently. Probably not going to like dock two things at the same time to this, but actually I think it might just be worth having one. There we go. Okay. Again, we always have the option to expand things if we want to. Yeah, although having said that, is it worth putting this somewhere we can actually get access to? The problem with these structural tubes is that you can't open them, so you can't get to anything that's inside them. So like for power, that's fine because batteries you don't really need to interact with. But you might want to turn off this inline stabilizer. So I'm thinking if we have two of these. Put the inline stabilizer on this, and then we get a smaller, because like we don't really necessarily need that much RCS fuel. So I think we get like maybe a slightly smaller one there, because you don't really use that much RCS fuel. Stick that on there. Get rid of this. Pop this on. Like that. Stick a ladder or two here. Just gives us a bit more maneuverability. Okay, I think we've got communications. We don't have any RCS thrusters, so I'm going to put some RCS thruster blocks on here. We do want engines, we do want, I think the big ones over here. And then if we look at see where the center of mass is. Did we get navigation lights? I can't remember if we did. I think we did. Yeah, we did. Navigation lights. Let's see if we can put some of these on here. Useful for docking. Let's do blue. Blink on. And we have some more down here, just for the make these yellow. I'm not sure they've actually fixed this because they would never retain their color. But just so that, like when you're so the idea is that when you're approaching from the from like with a ship or with another craft, then you know roughly which side you're coming in on. So yeah, I think that's everything we need. Like, we've got power generation, power storage, fuel storage, RCS storage, probe core, control like reaction wheel, RCS thrusters, docking ports, a communication dish, like docking ports for like a docking lander, another docking port there, and again, like I think these parts, yeah, these are cargo parts, so we can install more of these later if we want to. Pretty sure this is as well. Yeah. Another thing is yeah, being able to like retrofit your space stations and landers, etc., with more things. Okay. So before I forget, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build. I'm going to this is going to be the moon orbital station. Strategic port station, so that it's M.O.E.S. What's the strategic? Should we go with or should we go with moon orbital orbit equatorial station? M.O.E.S. M.O.E.S. Right, we'll save that for now, because what I want to do is I want to build a sub-assembly, which will be the like, because obviously like we're launching this thing, like this isn't meant to re-enter Kerbin's atmosphere. Like we're supposed to try and get this up as far as we can. So what I want to do is I want to start building sub-assemblies that are essentially our like abort system, our like crew abort systems. So what we do is we start off with the Mark III, so we can store 3 Kerbals in it. We pop a nice 2.5 meter heat shield on the bottom, because this thing essentially all we care about is getting the Kerbals out. Stick a 12 decoupler on the top. Don't forget our parachutes. It would be very useful as an escape module with variety parachutes. We do want 6 of them. I think a couple would do. Couple of drogue chutes. drug sheets for this thing. This is the case of emergency. We grab our, where is it gone? Is it utility? Yeah, launch escape system. Pop this bad boy on here. So the idea is, we put our Kerbals in here, and we basically have them. This is how we escape. So I'm thinking we want a TD25 decoupler here, and I'm thinking we have a small. Where have we got? Not big enough. This one? Nope, still not big enough. Where are the big ones? I want the 2.5 meter. There we go. Maybe that's a lot of fuel. We don't necessarily need that much fuel. I'm thinking. Essentially, I just want a little bit of fuel in it so that we have enough to deorbit if we have to abort when we're in orbit. Essentially, low Kerbin orbit. So we do this delta V vacuum or Kerbin, and we design this section to be our emergency get the hell out. So maybe again that's too small. The smallest version of this fuel tank maybe, like this, with some side engines. Probably not these. I don't know. What's this like? Crossway ratio 0.62. I mean, it could be worse. That just means we've got a bit of control if we want to like 1300 meters per second depth, even high Kerbin orbit, we should be able to get out of orbit with that. Is essentially the idea. We grab another TD25 decoupler and flip it around like so. Maybe a couple of little solar panels so that we so we can generate power basically. So yeah, this thing would be in case everything goes wrong, then the Kerbals are in here. What we'll do is we'll put these around a bit so that we can have a ladder here. Where is the ladder gone? There it is. Basically means that we can. This will hopefully be helpful for getting to for the transfer stage. So transferring the Kerbals from this to the actual station. So yeah, in theory we want these to go off at the same time. Because again, in normal operation, we would have these two go. Because eventually in normal operation, once we're done, we don't need this anymore. We hit the button and the entire thing jettisons away. And if we need to, then we then stay. We then then we jettison that, activate these. How is this way at the moment? 10 tons. That's fine. You know, basically, it's in case we need to get the hell out. This is essentially like our, you know, free Kerbal launch escape system. With a bit of maneuverability. So what we'll do is we'll reroute. I wonder if we can do the action groups. So I'm thinking if we do like a launch action group. Well, actually, we can tie these to the abort action group because so for example, this would be activate engine, decouple to release the entire thing. And I guess by the time we're out, like add these to number 10. Because again, like we're either in this or we're not. I think that'll do for the abort thing. So now what we do is we reroute. We make this the route, so essentially this is the entire thing. So we can just grab this and put it on something. We then open the extended thing, sub-assemblies. Tune of path. Did I add that? Oh yeah, okay. These are my I didn't realize that these are from my other save. I didn't realize these were global, like they go for the entire game. I thought they were like per save. Oh, all sub-assemblies, science packs, satellites, Juno assembly, rovers, crew return. There we go. That'll do. I've already got a thing for it. So we do this. We drop the sub-assembly into here. Save sub-assembly. Kerbal launch escape system. We're getting 3 Kerbals safely away. Save. Right, also we have this now, so we can say if we go open and then don't save this because we don't need to. We go for the moon orbit. We go to M.O.E.S. And then in theory now we should be able to grab one of these, flip it upside down, and stick it on there. So this will basically form the basis of our rocket. So we need to get this thing into orbit. Check our state. So Kerbin vacuum. Oh, we need to get this thing to the moon. So we're not taking this thing to the moon. Although I imagine if we can keep this on, then like we'll have even more delta V when it comes to getting to the moon. So we need, what is it, 800, about 800 odd, like about 1200 say delta V to get to the moon. So we need a T12 decoupler to go on here. We want a structural thing to go here. We need to strut it up. Actually, we'll do the I guess we need to do the name configuration as well. So configure naming, probe, naming priority 1, accept, close. Right, the compiler module is going to be the main thing, and we're going to make this to 11, so that because my standard is to have the your ships at 10, so that if a ship docks to this thing, then it still remains a station essentially. This should have configured this before I dropped the sub-assembly, but again, name priority 10. Cool. Yeah, action groups. So we want yeah, usually use set 1 for stations. Have override default so that we can do the things. So on custom 10 we want to deploy the solar panel to toggle the solar panels. Where is it gone? There you are. Toggle the antenna. The custom 1, which will do for the custom 9, let's say, for navigation lighting. Let's double check that we navigation light. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. There we go. Need to actually switch it. So yes, custom 9 to do the navigation lights. And we're going to leave. Actually, we can have these as 8, and then we'll remove them from there. Cool. Nothing I'll do. And then custom 1 will toggle the ladders. There we go. Space station. Cool. Right, so we've got that. Action groups. And now we need to get things to the moon. So we need to strut things up. Everything needs struts. And we'll also have some struts here as well, just in case. Nope. Nope, not having it. I'll do. So this is basically going to be our big ass engine, which we are going to have a payload bay to stick a probe core, etc. in. So we're going to have a hex. We are going to have a control wheel just for the sake of it. Basically, the idea being that once we're done with this, we basically back this thing off and crash it into the moon. Don't necessarily want force percent on this because we don't necessarily want to but once we put this thing in orbit, we don't necessarily want to adjust the orbit by decoupling. So we stick a big old, probably need a big old fuel tank on here. Let's have a look. Staging wise, $1,900 again. We've got loads of delta V here. What's our TWR? Overboard not great, but I mean it'll do. Again, we're hopefully going to be mostly into orbit by this point. Then, no, we want some just a wee bit of just like enough to actually, well, these ones all. Let's just have like a couple of these things. And then maybe it's like we just want a little bit of monoprop, just like a teensy bit, just enough to basically like undock ourselves. Is the plan. So essentially, we just this space is like be pushing us away once we've undocked. We want a bog standard communication dish. A couple of batteries in here. A couple of basic solar panels on the outside. Right, default, custom 10. We want to toggle this antenna, we want to deploy these solar panels. Alright, so the question is, can we get this, let's double check our abort action as well to make sure this is all fine. Yeah, we're good. Cool, so the question is, can we get this thing into orbit around Kerbin? Big if. I'm definitely thinking this is going to be a catamaran launch system type jobby. So let's set this to sea level, assume the worst. Coupling. Oh yeah, we want a decoupler. We want a payload fairing. I don't think anything out here comes like too far out of the actual thing, does it? There you go. Very long boy. Oh, especially we also want a let's do that for next. If we're doing a catamaran launch system, then we also want to modify this a bit. Well, let me say that maybe we can attach things to the actual capsule itself. Actually, you put this here. We have a structural little structural tube. Pop this on here. There we go. Basically means we have, let's say we want something on, I want something above the main body of the ship, above the fairing, so I can attach our catamaran launchers. I call it catamaran. I mean, it's just essentially having I call it catamaran style. I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but so essentially, yeah, we close it around there. Then we've got a bit on top here that we can attach things to. Can we colour this thing? No. Yeah. Is that actually visibly any different to... Yeah, silver looks kind of cool. 4 parts. Oh, that does look cool. I like the silver colour. Right, so yeah, we're gonna get this bad boy into orbit, which is gonna take a lot of engines and a lot of fuel. Let's just start with one of these. Where's our mainsail? So look, AM22, and our thrust ratio is 1.19, so we can get off the pad. That's useful. AM22 is not going to cut it though. We need more power. So I'm going to try 2 side boosters essentially, which involves these things. Structural. Probably only need one of these, I think, just to get them. Fuel tanks. I've got 10 more minutes. I'll see if I can finish the design in 10 minutes. But we won't launch it today because I want to be trying finishing off about 8 o'clock because I'm going to start watching the Perseverance stream. Is the plan. So if we lower these down, I mean it doesn't really matter. We're going to be using separatrons to separate these bad boys out. Again, more mainsails. Let's see, 1,000 meters per second, 2.08, which again, way more than we need. What we need is to get some more fuel tanks. Okay, we'll leave this open and just keep an eye on the thrust to weight ratio because we don't want it getting too low. But yeah, like I'm thinking if we, not this one, dang it. .37. I get everything orange. Oof. Fair bit more there. And we're looking at 1.3. Basically, I make these things long enough so they go up the sides. So essentially, this will help with the maintaining like a structure is the plan. Aerodynamics. So yeah, so essentially what you do is you 1.2 off the pad, which is not so bad. Structural. Again, 2,280 meters per second. Actually, before we do anything, we need to add in fins because at the moment the center of mass is way up there, which is all right. We want a big ass delta wing. We reposition these things to account for the fact that we don't want them to actually intersect the wing. Go home, symmetry, you're drunk. Cool, that works. It's attached there. And the idea is essentially we use some more of these struts up here, which makes it nice. Usually makes it nice and structurally sound, at least. And then because these are obviously quite heavy now, and like the separation from here is not necessarily going to be strong enough to actually push it away, so what we do is just stick a whole load of separatrons on the side here, which are under engines, I believe. Yes, sepratron. We want them to be. So what we do is we add another one facing that way, and then in terms of staging we have these going at the same time as these, like so. And then you whoa, that's not what I wanted. That, same here. Like so, and then that should hopefully push these away from the main ship when we launch. We've got about 5 minutes left before 8 o'clock, so let's see, 1.19. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more oomph off the pad and give us a little bit more kick. So we've got like what? We've got about 3,000 meters per second there. So, and how long is this burn going to last? 132 seconds. So I'm thinking a couple of SRBs are in order. Just a couple. Let's have a look. Let's see. We've got about 3 lots of like we've got about 4,500 thrust at the moment, I think, or like at surface level 1,300. So 39, about 4,000. Yeah, about 4,000 thrust. So 1.2 thrust to weight ratio. So probably want to add like another 1,000, I think. So a couple of these would give us a .35, which is alright. And then when these separate, you get 1.62, and that's 2,400. 3,200. We should be fine there. 56 minutes past. And again, we will do some struts. Structural. Strut it up. Oh, hey, Donut. I'm not playing this evening because I'm wanting to watch the live stream for the Perseverance landing, which I'm going to be switching to. So I'm not going to be joining you guys for Battlefront this evening, unfortunately. Yeah, so I think the live streams should already be going, but I think like the actual landing itself should be taking place between about 8:45 GMT and 9 o'clock. I'm doing. I am definitely playing BF2 on Saturday night because I offered to host it. So I'm definitely up for that. So I'll probably be there most of Saturday anyway, because I'm joining you for No Man's Sky, etc. Yeah, speaking of, if anyone else is watching, my good friend Donut is doing a 20-hour charity stream from 6 a.m. Saturday morning on his channel, which I'll be hosting. I'll host it on mine when it goes live. But no, yeah, you should check it out and donate. Very good cause. But yes. Anyway, where are we going? It's 2 minutes to. I want to try and finish off this design before we finish for the day. So spin these around. Let's add a couple of separatrons just for good measure, because everything can do with more separatrons. You forget to add sepratron, and your booster crashes. Your booster like blows up one of your engines. Indeed, you can stream you play the game. So I could, but I feel like that might detract from your stream. I feel like we're all going to be playing together, so it would make more sense. And especially if I'm playing in VR, I won't be able to like manage chat or anything. So I think it would probably make more sense for it would make more sense for, if people want to watch us playing, then it would make more sense for them to watch on your stream, wouldn't it? Cool. I think that would do. We just want to add some launch clamps, save it, and then I think we'll call it a day. And I'll double check the action groups before I actually launch anything next time. Cool. Now that looks like a rocket to me. And hopefully will be a orbital moon station, and then at some point we'll launch a lander to accompany it. But cool, yes, we'll save this, and yeah, we'll I think we'll call it there. Assuming we shall get back to that and hopefully put this thing into orbit of the moon on Sunday evening, assuming I'm awake. But yes, let's save the game before I forget. Save and quit. And yeah, well, I might watch the landing and go in game afterwards. We'll see. Yeah, I think I might be doing. I might have something else on after landing. But again, I'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely in for Saturday. I'll be probably seeing a lot of you on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. But no, yeah. See you on Saturday. Hopefully see other people there as well. But no, yeah. Let's go back. Yep. Thanks for watching. And again, if you're watching this live and you fancy watching the NASA live stream for the launch, I'm jumping over there myself in a minute. Before I have whilst I have my dinner. But no, hopefully see you guys on Sunday for the next part of the stream. But yeah, other than that, cheerio.